Okay, well, it is 7 o'clock. So while people still continue to come in, we'll just go ahead and kick it off and start. Thank you so much to everyone for attending tonight's HBCU experience, formerly called Unplugged, the HBCU student experience. So my name is Danielle Marshall. I'm an author and founder of the College Visit Journal and an upcoming app called Tour Genius, which focuses all around the college visit process, taking notes and being really prepared and organized for your college visits. And I have my wonderful co-host, Shamel, here from the Keys to College. She's an independent counselor. I will let her introduce herself. But we decided to put this together because there are a ton of great virtual events going on since March because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. And I didn't see many that focus solely on the students. And so I said, hey, well, why don't we create one and let's really focus on HBCUs because there are a lot of people who want to go to HBCUs and find out more about them. So thank you definitely to our panelists for participating. Your commitment to this and your feedback is so valuable to everyone who registered to attend this event. We have a really great mix of parents, students, and educators and counselors who have registered to attend. So we thank you. And I know they're going to leave this webinar with a lot of new and great information. Shamel, you want to take it away?
Yeah. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Danielle. My name is Shamel Yamofio, and I am the founder and CEO of Keys to College, and we are a college consulting business, and we reach out to students, parents, and educators just to inform them about the college application process. I started it because I know that people are just sorely uninformed, and by the time they get to their senior year, some students may not have a whole lot of options. So my goal is to make sure that you are proactive and that you avoid some of the pitfalls that I see or that I have seen some of my students make and mistakes that they've made. So I want you to be proactive and not make those, and at the end of the day have options and have an affordable school and have a school that's a great fit for you that you love for 4 years. So I'm so happy that Danielle and I connected, and then we have these wonderful students on our panel. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at the Keys to College. And Danielle, how can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram or Facebook at the College Visit Journal. So, so this event is one of a couple of events. Oh, first of all, and it's also sponsored by Hero Wellness. Focusing on all things health, home, and beauty. So thank you to our sponsor, Hero Wellness. We appreciate you. And so this event will be followed up in 2 weeks by a event that features African-American students who attend PWI. So you get a whole different perspective. So we hope you'll join us for that, and we'll send out an email with that information. And then this webinar is also being recorded, and I will send that email out to you in a few days when it is ready to be distributed. So be on the lookout for it. So now let's get to know our students. Samir, you want to start us off?
Hey, how are y'all? I am Samir Austin. I'm a rising senior. I'm a mechanical engineering student at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I'd just like to say thank you all for joining us on this call.
Okay, thanks. Hunter?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hunter Davis. I am a graduating senior attending Hampton University as an audio production major, leadership studies minor from Charlotte, North Carolina. I know Ms. Shamel as her being my high school counselor. So without her, I probably wouldn't have been as successful as I was in this college process. So shout out to
her. Kylan?
Hi, my name is Kylan Rice. I'm a rising junior at Howard University from Atlanta, Georgia.
Brittany?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brittany Hume-Dawson, a rising senior at Alabama State University. I was born in Anaheim, California, but I live in Georgia now, and I'm a biology pre-health major.
And Caleb?
What's up, everybody? I think I might be the youngest of the panelists. I am a sophomore at Paul Quinn College. I am a double major for psychology and business management. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I just want to thank you for giving me the chance to talk to these kids about going to an HBCU.
All right, great. And so a lot of these questions, thank you to everyone who registered and submitted a question. You'll probably be hearing your question because we definitely tried to include as many as we could. But if you have other questions, definitely use the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, the Q&A button to ask a question, or you can put a question in the chat and we will circle back to that. Okay, so let's dive right in. My first question deals with COVID-19, right? We're all virtual, we're at home or someplace like it. Has your college shared any reopening plans or safety plans for the fall with you all?
Okay, so no, Howard hasn't. Howard hasn't sent us anything.
Okay.
And we're all waiting on pins and needles to hear what our next step is going to be, but we haven't.
Were they fairly supportive with you all as you transitioned into going back home?
They initially not so much, but they became very receptive to the students through the efforts of our Student Government Association, CUSA, Howard University Student Association. They worked in close connection with them, and they became very receptive, moving to the pass-fail system and sending out laptops and things of that nature.
Alabama State, they did send us an email telling us that we were going to be back in session for the fall, and they told us to stand by for exactly what that's going to look like.
Okay. Has anyone else heard about it? Okay, Hunter.
So, like I said earlier, my school's president is very, very adamant about this virus and being safe. And so, although he hasn't sent an official email, I speak closely with my dean, and he said that the president of the school is going to give an official email to every student on campus. But he has spoken to news media outlets. He has spoken to blogs, health blogs, things like that, just talking about the reopening of our school. And so far, it isn't looking good. He doesn't want the world to move faster than it should when it's dealing with this virus. So I'm not going to say that we aren't going to have a semester, but the way that he's talking, it's looking like we aren't.
Yeah, A&T, they have sent us a few emails in regards to COVID and us migrating back to campus for the fall. Right now, it's looking like we are going to have a fall semester, and they're kind of going to be strict on us making face masks and any type of sanitary doings very necessary for the fall.
Yeah, Hampton is the same way. We'll be required to all get tested before we return back. Going to school earlier this year, and then I believe at the end of Thanksgiving break, well, we're going to go up until Thanksgiving break, and then that'll be the end of the semester. And then when they come back, we'll probably end up coming back later, just to space out the time that people are convening together.
I know y'all don't like that long break.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that although my school hasn't given an official statement about returning back to campus, I would like to commend them on how they did handle the COVID situation. So when it first broke out, my school gave the students time to, well, when it first broke out, it was the week of our spring break. And so a lot of students weren't on campus. And so the school said, okay, any students that are still on campus, you guys can stay on campus until you get away home. If you don't have a way home, they use some of your tuition to pay for you an apartment until you got away home. They gave out laptops. They changed the grading system to pass or fail. They worked closely with our SGA president to come up with the best solution for the students. So I would like to commend our president as well as our faculty and staff for the way that they did handle the COVID situation, but they have not given us an update as to if we're having a semester.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. And that's great to hear that. I mean, it was so unprecedented. So we have to commend all of these colleges for thinking so quickly and acting on the fly to their best ability. So, so speaking of that, when you were on campus and when you first started college and moved away from home, what was that process like for you all? So like, what was the hardest thing to adapt to being away from home? And what adjustment advice would you give to an incoming freshman?
I went 10 hours away from home. Like I said, I'm from Atlanta and I went to Howard. It was very interesting. So like in Atlanta, you drive everywhere. That's typical mode of transportation. I think the biggest adjustment was learning public transportation, but there was a certain level of freedom and independence that came with that, and a certain level of growing up that you have to do very quickly, because being in public transportation, you cannot be, naive. You got to be aware and alert. So I think that was the most difficult. But having friends from New York, having friends very up north in condensed cities, they taught me very quickly. So I think that was a very easy learning curve, just because of how diverse our population is in terms of socioeconomic and geographical places.
I am an out-of-state student, but I'm only an hour and a half away from home. However, that means I can't go home every weekend. So I think my biggest adjustment tip for being an out-of-state student is try not to put yourself in uncomfortable situations just because you're scared of being alone. A big part of being adult is just going out in the world and figuring things out for yourself, and that's part of the socialization process of college. So just get used to that. And then the friends that you do invest in, make sure that they're good ones, because you don't have your parents just 10 minutes or 15 minutes away to help you out when you need it.
That's great advice.
I'm in state. I didn't mention where I was from earlier. I'm from a very small town called Oxford, North Carolina. It's about an hour 15 from Greensboro. Like I said, I'm in state, so I'm not far from home. But I do have a lot of friends who are out of state, coming from Virginia, Texas, Cali, and up north. And I just speak to them as far as them dealing with migrating from fast-paced cities to come into Greensboro, which is considered the South, so it's much slower. And they, when I speak to them as far as about moving and stuff, they say it's kind of strenuous on them because some of them are like family people. So if you're family oriented, I would say it might be slightly difficult for you if you're family oriented. But I know some of them also came from distance home, so it's something new for them to experience, and they kind of enjoyed it because it also put them out into the real world. And like I think it was Brittany, she said, like I said, being able to make friends, pick your friends wisely, and I feel like that play a very effective role in your freshman year.
I would say for me, one of the hardest adjustments was the food. I mean, my mom is a caterer, so I was eating good food a lot. And then, I had to switch over to the cab lifestyle. But it's just a simple transition. And being an out-of-state student, I would like to just emphasize the point of making good friends. I have friends all over the country. And it's pretty cool because I do a lot of traveling. So like over the summers, I'll be able to go visit some of them, and just being able to see them outside of a campus setting is pretty satisfying, and it shows you a different side of people that you kind of just get to learn and develop while being in college. So I would definitely say that's one of the higher points.
Sounds good. Good.
I would say to try to get involved, and I would go faster than the pace that you would set for yourself, but I would say to try to get involved as soon as you can, like personal life, because I didn't start having fun at my HBCU until I started joining clubs, until I started meeting new people, until I started associating myself with the staff and faculty of the school, only because being in your dorm room and going to class every day is really boring. Like watching Netflix, yeah, it's fun, but at the same time, having friends and being able to do things with them, it's a lot more fun than being by yourself in your dorm room. So I would say get a little bit out of your comfort zone and just challenge yourself to make friends, because it'll help in the long run.
Can I add to that really quickly?
Yeah.
When I first came to Howard, like more to their point in joining clubs and putting yourself out there, what you'll find is it's everybody's first day. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of us have, that like, oh, I'm not going to know anybody. It's about 1,000 students at minimum who also don't know anybody. So putting yourself out there, you're going to be met with a lot of love because it's everybody's first experience. Like whether you're 15, 20 minutes away from home, it's most likely everybody's first experience living away from home. So you're going to be met with a lot of love, which is what my experience was.
Nice. Okay. So speaking of that first day of school and getting accepted into an HBCU, why did you choose your HBCU? And did you know from like, have you always known that you wanted to go to an HBCU?
I chose because of the campus. The scenery of campus is really nice there. We're right in the peninsula, so there's water on all sides of the campus pretty much. And so a part of that is what sold me, and also knowing that it was one of the top HBCUs, with its prestigious title and everything. So I knew I wanted to go there. And also, I just decided to go to Hampton because the distance away from home, it was perfect for me. I like to kind of be away from home and not too close to home. So from Charlotte to Hampton, Virginia is about a 5-hour drive. So it was perfect for me that I don't go home on small holidays or like 3-day weekends, but end up going back. Of course, it's easy to just make a 5-hour drive. So yeah, the thing that sold me the most was the campus and how far it was from home.
I chose to attend Alabama State because I got a scholarship, and I knew that we're a military family, so I knew that my mom was going to be stationed in Georgia, and that's, as I said, only an hour and a half away. And then my sister also went to an HBCU. She went to Alcorn, and I saw how much of an awesome opportunity and time that she had at her school. So I was like, might as well go to an HBCU close to my parents. And it's been an awesome experience. So very happy with my choice.
I chose Howard. My mother went there and my father went to Morehouse. So for a lot of our lives, it was either going to be Spelman or Howard for me. But as I got older and did more research, figured out what path I wanted to take. I'm a legal communications major. I'm on the pre-law track. I would like to go into sports agency. Howard just made the most sense for me, being on the forefront of pre-law, producing some of the highest numbers of Black lawyers in the country. Just the environment, the academic environment, the Black excellence that's produced from there. Also, what really drew me to the campus was adjunct professors. That was a very big deal for me, being able to communicate with people who are in the field. So one of my first professors was Michael Orr's lawyer, and it's also Stevie Wonder's lawyer. And that was my first active or were extremely successful in their field, was extremely important to me. I think you find that a lot of HBCUs, when they produce greatness, they're people who were successful from those HBCUs want to come back and pour into you. And so it's not a Howard exclusive thing, but we got a nice little resume going at Howard. So it was very, very important to me. It was exciting to see that.
So actually, I didn't decide to go to Paul Quinn at first. I fell in love with Alabama State. My heart was set on Alabama State. I had a scholarship at Alabama State. I was going to play basketball for Alabama State. Anybody in my family knew me knew like my heart was at Alabama State. And then I got a scholarship offer for basketball to Paul Quinn College. And I didn't even take it seriously at first. I went on my tour campus visit and it was nothing special. It was a decent sized school. It was kind of small. It wasn't, the gym wasn't huge. The facilities weren't the greatest. But when I was met by the dean of the students, and I was met by the president of the school, they showed me I felt at Alabama or any other HBCU. And I'm not knocking any other HBCU, I promise. I love HBCUs, period. But the love that I was shown, it felt like family at first. Like it was, as soon as I got there, as soon as I met him, he hugged me and he said, I don't know what other schools are interested in you, but I need you here. And as soon as I got to campus, it felt like that from the beginning. And so, and I feel like that's where it is, I mean, how it is for a lot of HBCUs, but the HBCU that caught my eye first was Paul Quinn College.
I would say the reason why, one of the main reasons why I chose to attend A&T was based off their engineering department. A&T's engineering department is very well known, and we also have like one of the monumental figures, Ronald E. McNair. He was an astronaut who actually passed in one of the aircraft launches a couple seconds afterwards. But another reason I also chose A&T was because I knew that I wanted to stay in state because I'm a first generation college student. It was just like I didn't want to go too far from home, but I knew I wanted to get out the house and get away. And then, like I say, when I got to A&T, when I did one of my first college tours there, everybody there, kind of like I don't even know. I'm trying to see his name. Caleb. Oh, Caleb. Like he said, they were very welcoming. At A&T, they was like family. Everyone there, you can reach out to. It's very resourceful campus as well. That's like one of the things that stuck out to me because, like I say, first generation. I don't know too much about college, and for the simple fact to have a lot of resources to reach out to and depend upon to learn your way around was very eye-opening and helping.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you for that. Wow, those are some tips.
Yeah.
I think there's a little delay there. Sorry. I just wanted to clarify, especially for the students and people who may not know where certain colleges are located. I know some of you all mentioned it, and some of it might be just intuitive, but North Carolina A&T is in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hampton University is in Hampton, Virginia. Howard University is in Washington, D.C. Alabama State is in Montgomery, Alabama. And Paul Quinn College is in Dallas, Texas. That's it.
Indeed. Thank you, Shamel, for pointing that out. Okay, so I want to shift over to your academics. So talk a little bit about, and not everyone has to respond to this, but talk to us about your classes. Are they lecture-based, kind of more, do they revolve around more discussions? Are your professors accessible? Are you in large classes, small classes? Give us a good idea of what classes are like on your campus.
So going back to what I was saying about adjunct professors, they tend to do more course specific work. So the largest class I think I've been in that was geared towards my major is about 35 students. You have to take some general education courses, just get you acclimated to your school. So in college, there's different schools. I'm in the School of Communications on a pre-law track, so legal communications. So I had to take a very large class to deal with the person who our school is named after, Kathy Hughes. So we just had to learn about her, and that class was about 100 people. But altogether, the classes that I take are very discussion-based. The teachers want to know what you know, what you're interested in, and they want to work with you on that. In terms of accessibility, absolutely. Our teachers give us their phone numbers, their personal phones. They're welcome to text messages, obviously within a reasonable hour. Emails, they typically respond very fast. Office hours, they are always there, always welcoming. And beyond that, I love my professors because many of them have retired from their fields and came back just to teach. So they have an extreme amount of connections. My last professor, Stacy Patton, currently writes for the Times. She is a social activist, very active on Twitter. And so if you want to go into broadcast journalism, she has connections like that. She got several students laptops, she got several students internships. So talking with my professors has been like the best experience, the most connections. The HBCU network is ridiculous. They look out for you like no other.
Mm-hmm. So my school, like I said earlier, is semi-small, so it's not really small, but it's a decent size. The biggest classroom that I've been in, like student-wise, would have to be like 20, 22, something like that. But the class size really range from 10 to 15 students per teacher. When it comes to being close to your professors, I think that my school does that very well. So, I'm sorry, I don't know her name.
Kylan?
The young Howard University. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Like she said, we have access to their personal emails, their personal phone numbers. They give those out on the first day of school. They want us to call them if we have any questions for whether it be schoolwork, personalized. I have a personal relationship with a lot of my professors. They know who I am outside of just how smart I am. And I think that that's a lot of HBCUs. A lot of HBCUs aim towards trying to find out who their students really are. My school is different because we aim towards making you an all-around person and not just a great student. If you've heard of it, we have an urban work program. So like you said, with internships, we have this work program where as soon as you're on campus, you have to work a job on campus so that you're in the pipeline to be an intern by your sophomore year. So you can be working in corporate America by your sophomore year at a huge company. So currently I'm working at JP Morgan. My friend, he works at Chase Bank. Both of those are big companies in Dallas, Texas, downtown. Those are the type of courses that, I mean, not courses, but the path that you'll take if you come to Paul Quinn. They'll put you on a path to connect you with people that you want to meet for your field.
Thank you.
Alabama State is definitely a smaller school. Our enrollment is about 3,500 to 5,000 students. So our class size is around 20 students per class. The biggest class I've ever been in is 40 students. And the professors are very welcoming. I won't say that they give out their personal phone numbers, but email, in my experience, has been like professional texting. They email you back within 10 minutes. And I feel like if you show interest and you do well in the class, they definitely take an interest in you, and they invite you to work in their labs. I'm a pre-health major, so that's important to me. But that's how the academics are at Alabama State.
Hampton definitely has smaller class sizes. I know for myself, being a music major and in the music department, is very intimate, if you will. And we have probably my largest class within my major was maybe 10 students. And so some of the same people, of course, all the time within our little network. But usually for our general education classes, those are probably the most people that we're going to have in the class, and that'll probably range from around 25 plus to around like 50. And so those are just your regular gen ed classes, which I do encourage if you have any type of dual enrollment program in high school to get those classes out of the way. Because personally, if I could do it all over again, I think I would go that route and take some of those classes before I got to Hampton. Yeah.
And just to piggyback off what Hunter just said, as far as we're taking dual enrollment classes, I would definitely make sure if you're going to do that, make sure you check with the university, because most universities, they don't have to accept those, and make sure you'll just have to retake the classes once you get there. Had a few people who that happened to that I know. But as far as academics within A&T and like class sizes, coming in my freshman year, some like the general ed classes, I know for a fact one of my classes, it was a lecture style. It was 200 freshman students in there. And like I'm an engineering student. And so I'm a part of college engineering, which is like the biggest department at A&T. And like I said, that lecture class was 200. Then I had another class, which was about 50 to 75. And even though like class sizes are big, for my class, there was like 75 of us in there. Our professor, he knew a great deal amount of us, and he took time to try to get to know everyone by name. And kind of go back to like what Caleb said, at HBCUs, like majority of the time they thrive on trying to get to know their students so they can build their relationship. And like I say, also utilize that like hours, office hours, utilize them, because like I say, I was in my professor's office hours like crazy, just because like before you know it, when it gets to the end of the term and you're a couple points off, they might look out for you if they see that you're working hard and you're trying to get to where you need to be, so you can succeed, then they're willing to help out. And I would say, I would definitely urge you all and push you all to do that. Make sure.
That's some awesome advice. I want to make sure we didn't leave anybody out. But we are at the halfway point, and we wanted to just address some of the live questions that we have received. And so because we are at the halfway point, everybody doesn't have to answer now if you feel so compelled to, and especially with this next question, because it asks for a little bit of transparency. They want to know, how were your academics, your GPA, SAT, or ACT scores?
So my GPA, I graduated from Campbell High School. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. I think it was like a 3.73, and I had a 29 ACT score when I applied. I retook it, but I never sent it in. But I would say that our composite for my class was a 3.6, and I believe our ACT was a 25, and the SAT was a 12.10. What I will say is, if those numbers are discouraging to you at all, I believe that if as early application, early admission, they look at your application as a whole. So extracurriculars, if you're involved, if you're in your student government in your high school, if you're active in your community, those things do matter if you're a little bit off the mark. But taking the test multiple times is a way to show that you're adamant and wanting to be a student.
So I went to Mojave High School. I had a 3.84. I didn't take the SAT, but I had an ACT score of 25. I didn't retake the test only because I was really busy in high school. I was part of the student government. I did basketball. I was part of the basketball team. Things like that. I was a part of. I'm not gonna say what fraternity, but the youth group of it. Things like that. So I didn't really have time to take the test again. My school, although it does look at your scores, it really does just want you as a person. So one of the things that we do that is kind of different from a lot of schools is that we will interview you either through Zoom or through a phone call, and they just ask you questions about who you are. And I've seen a lot of people get accepted based solely off their interview. So they had a really decent, like it was a semi-good GPA, maybe a 3.0 or a 2.7. They didn't do well on the ACT or SAT, but because of their story or because of who they were and their impression that they left on the interviewer, they were accepted. And then after they were accepted, they earned scholarships throughout like the school year. So I would, even if you have a decent GPA or one that you aren't totally proud of, but it is what it is, I would still say apply to schools, try your hardest to get in, and push your luck, because you never know what's planned for you.
Thank you. Is anyone here a double major? There's a question about that. How would you describe your experience as a double major? Okay. Cool. Moving on. Now, as a I know that Samir is a first-generation college student. Raise your hand if there are any other first-generation college students. Okay, Samir and Caleb. Okay. So that means that your parents didn't go to college, but you might have had siblings or someone in your same generation, but your parents didn't go. So can you tell us what resources or anything like that?
What I kind of took a little extra mile so I can get so I can adapt to the college life. So the summer before my freshman year, I went ahead and took summer classes because I knew that I wanted, me being being first generation, I didn't want to get there and be completely lost. So I wanted some type of aspect of what to expect with the college course load. And with summer sessions, they allow you to be on campus and you're allowed to take up to 6 or 7 credit hours. And that's what I did. And about the resources that are available on campus to help with that, you have your academic advisor who, if you don't know, you can ask him or her to point you in the right direction. Somebody said something. You ask him or her to point you in the right direction. You also have the Office of Career Services, and you also have counseling services that are on my campus, who you can ask surplus amount of questions to, and they could, like I say, point you in the right direction.
So like Samir said, my school also has something similar to a summer bridge, but it's actually mandatory for all freshmen. Well, not mandatory, but it's I guess pushed or emphasized that you should take it. It's basically Summer Bridge is a place where only freshmen are on campus, and the freshmen that do take Summer Bridge, they're given a class called Quinnite Servant Leadership, Christian Ethics. Basically, just classes that help you adapt to being on your own, but it also allows you to adapt to the college campus and the environment that you're about to walk into. So some of the classes teach. We're a Christian-based college, so we have a class called Christian Ethics. It's just living their life for God, stuff like that. It also teaches you the history of our college, how we came to be, things like that. But my college does do a very good job in acclimating new students, especially first gens. On your application, you have to specify if you're first gen or not, and if you do specify that, they do talk to you about it during your interview. They talk to you about certain scholarships that we offer for first gen students, as well as other sites or other scholarships apart from Paul Quinn that you can apply for if you're a first gen student, just so that the financial load that tuition costs wouldn't be as much.
So now let's kind of talk about the HBCU life in your school community. So how is it living on campus? Have you lived all 4 years, and what are the housing options like? So maybe 2 people can answer that.
So going to a large HBCU, we had a kind of like a housing crisis. We've had one almost for the past 4 or 5 years. My class was one of the biggest, so we had to live in triples my freshman year, which is when they have 3 beds to a room, and doubles 2 beds to a room, a single 1 bed to a room. That was kind of unprecedented, but it was a great experience for me. The bunk beds were a little annoying, but then we figured out how to debunk our room, and the floor plan was really cute. I would say living on campus your freshman year, unparalleled experience. Your RAs are there for you. You get to know people in ways you wouldn't imagine. Living with somebody was daunting for me because I hadn't shared a room in I don't know how long, but it was a fantastic experience. Some people do live off campus in DC, but DC rent is ridiculous. I live on campus because I'm a track athlete and I'm also on academic scholarship, so my housing is paid for. There's a sophomore dorm, and then there's a junior and senior dorm, and you can live in your junior and senior dorm if you're on academic scholarship, if you have the presidential scholarship. Living on campus, there are strict rules at HBCUs about visitation. However, they are being appealed, and they're being reformed as our student government is working more in conjunction with our administration. I wouldn't say that our visitation is at all extremely restrictive. It's more for your safety. All in all, living on campus has been a fantastic experience for me. Obviously, there are some rare horror stories, but I haven't heard many.
Does anyone have a different perspective than Kylan's? Kind of the same across the board?
Well, my school is kind of small, like I keep saying. I just want people to know just before you sign up, we're not a huge school. We don't have 20 different, buildings and 500 different students. We're kind of small. So we do offer 3 different ways of living. We have the regular dorms, Lucy Hughes, which is where any student can live there, really. You don't have to have a certain GPA or have a certain scholarship. We have another one, and it's in the Steel building. This is the building though for academic scholars, people on presidential scholarships, things like that. And then we have off-campus living, but kind of on campus. So we rent out apartment complexes for our students because we do have more students than we do dorms available. So we rent out apartments, and on those apartments you get a meal card, so you have access to food. It's basically apartment style. So you have your own apartment, you do share with roommates, but you guys have a stove, a kitchen, a living room, things like that.
Perfect.
Thank you for answering. I want to say this because we are at 7:41. We have a lot of questions. People are very interested in y'all's lives and experiences, okay? So we were just pausing real quick because there are questions. The questions just keep coming, and I'm afraid we're not going to get it answered. So check in the question and answer boxes. Thank you for those who have already, and answer individually. If you can answer that, that would be great. Thank you.
Real quick, I want to touch on health and wellness real fast. How do you take care of your mental health during school?
Okay, so this is really important to me because as a student athlete, I've been an athlete all my life, and I got injured my first year at Howard, and it was just like the world fell, like the sky was falling to me. However, through our student insurance, we have access to 24/7 counselors, and there's also counselors on campus. However, I've heard that office is not always reliable, but through your student insurance, there are virtual counselors. It's an app that's made available to you when you go to Student Health Services, and you can go and you can speak to somebody on your phone or your iPad or whatever you need to 24/7, and it's completely covered with your student insurance, so it's totally free. It was tremendously life-saving going through that process.
Thank you.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
Sorry. So like I'm the lady from Miss Howard. I'm gonna learn names, I promise. But like she said, I'm also a student athlete, and I'm also a psychology major that wants to do psychiatry. So mental health is really, really important to me. So my school does. We're actually building a new mental health facility as we speak. I think it'll be done both mental and physical health. Extremely important. So for the mental health side of things, we have, again, the mental health facility being built as we speak, but we have one already installed in our campus. So if you have any problems, you can talk to a counselor at any time of the day. We actually did have a student have a mental breakdown. It was about 3 a.m. and maybe 10 minutes later, five of our counselors were in the dorms, comforting him, getting him the help that he needed, calling the ambulance, things like that. And so we do take mental health very seriously. And as a student athlete, my physical health is very important to both myself and my coaches in the school. We have multiple trainers, just like every other school does, but we also have multiple nurses' office, we have an app that all students have to download. On this app, you can be put in a Zoom call like this with doctors, with nurses, with anything, well, basically any resource medically that you need. And then you can schedule doctor's appointments with the local hospitals. You can go schedule doctor's appointment with the doctor's offices. Anything that you need will be on that app. Because we're a small school, we have to partner with the local doctor's offices around us. But the impact and the severity of physical health is still the same.
Thank you. Okay, so I think a lot of students or families are kind of torn between, should I go to an HBCU? Should I go to a PWI? What are the advantages of going to an HBCU? I think a lot of people are thinking about their futures, careers. Will it prepare them for a world in which you are the minority? So I need two people to perhaps speak on, what are the advantages of attending an HBCU, and how prepared do you believe you will be going into the career field?
So really quickly, I think that is a very I think that's a very good question, because especially at my high school, coming from Cobb County, it was not presented that it would be a viable option for me. Had I not come from the household I came from, I most likely would have chose a PWI. Because I was a smart student, they were gearing me in that direction. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor as a minority, it has been statistically proven in any test you can find on the internet, anywhere, you have a better chance of migrating into your field successfully from an HBCU, because the faculty is so invested in you, because you don't have to prove yourself to your white professor because you're Black. And me being a Black female, that was doubly difficult in my high school experience, because being one out of maybe 3 other Black students in every single one of my classes, that wasn't expected of me. Coming to an HBCU, excellence is expected. It is the bare minimum. You have to be the best because you're surrounded by so much Black excellence. It forces you to be better because you're regular. Test that they did during my Bison experience, my orientation, with all the freshmen came with your parents, they asked you to raise your hand if you were student president, raise your hand if you were prom queen, and raise your hand if you were the captain of your sports team. Every hand was up. They ingrained in you that being the best at your small school, high school, is not enough. You have to be the best in every setting. So moving into a field where I may be the minority, I feel no stress about it at all, because I know what it is to be excellent, because I have to compete against the best of the best every single day just to have a seat at the table.
Oh yeah, shout out to my HU counterpart. But she keep mentioning the word excellent. At Hampton, that is what we say respect. Like that's the minimum. For myself, I know I surround myself with like-minded individuals, and of course, it's amazing to have that feeling, especially as an African American male in today's society, being able to have counterparts to relay on, and to know that you're all doing and working towards a better goal of just bettering yourself so that you can better the community further down the road. And so I know for myself, going to HBCU wasn't really a question. I have 2 younger sisters. One attends UNC Chapel Hill, and the other goes to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And so both of those are PWIs, and I know for them it's a completely different experience, just being in that environment. And like Colin said, having to prove yourself to your white counterparts and peers and professors, it was just something that I wasn't really going to do, because I know, my worth and who I am. And so I would much rather develop that within an environment that accepts me for who I am, and that will challenge me to do better based on the individuals around me.
Okay, excellent. Awesome. I'm so enjoying this. This next question is for Samir, because we want to know about campus safety. So how safe do you feel on your campus, school campus, and how is the environment outside of your school campus in the surrounding neighborhood in Greensboro?
So I would say, when I'm on campus, I do feel safe for the simple fact, because all through our campus, we have like small pillars for you to, if in case of emergency, you can hit a button and the police will be right at your location. And also to speak on as far as like the outside surrounding area of Greensboro, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna be transparent with you. It's great, but we also have like locals. We refer to people who have been there, like who just kind of staggered around, who live around the area, call them locals, and they kind of make you like wonder, like kind of, do I need to be here? Do I need to be in the setting? But like I say, campus itself is a very safe place. So it's like I don't worry too much as far as like anything crazy happening on campus or off campus, for the simple fact, like I say, police here, GPD, they all are very active. And then that also kind of goes back to what we said earlier on Brittany, when she referred to picking your friends. Yeah, make sure like don't just hang out with anybody. Honestly, like make sure you have a good choice and a good selection of friends with you.
Thank you. And while you're talking, we're going to transition to talking about clubs, organizations that you're involved with. I know a few questions were around Greek life. So Samir, can you tell us about why you chose, Greek life, what fraternity you're in, and then also talk about any other organizations you're in? And after you're done, then everyone else can follow with what organizations you're in.
All right, so I start off with the Greek one. So I am a Spring 18 initiate into the Eta chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. One of the main reasons why I decided that I wanted to join a fraternity was because I wanted to build a legacy. Each fraternity and sorority has a rich legacy of their own. And like I say, by any means, you get to choose whichever one you want to pursue membership in. But like I said, I chose Phi Beta Sigma because of what they stood on. They stood on brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And they also stood on the exclusive we rather than the exclusive we, which means that just because I'm in a fraternity does not mean I'm exclude you out of things. Like at the end of the day, I'm still a regular individual before my letters. I'm still a Black male in America before my letters. So it's like at the end of the day, you'll be a brother, you're still a sister to me. And one reason why I chose my org was because as soon as I got on campus, my RA so happened to be a Sigma, and he also took me under his wing and became my mentor. And that just kind of stood out to me. It's like, okay, to see how they're already out here on the forefront, and this is only the third day I've been in my dorm. And then not only that, their presence on campus, they were like, all like I said, at the forefront of everything. They led marches for like times like this. They were like very, very like stagnant and like trying to push for people to come out, vote, and be at marches. And like that stood out to me for the simple fact that they're pushing for our rights and they're trying to make everyone become well aware of their rights. And the other part of the question was, well, the clubs. So again, like I said, I'm a mechanical engineering student. One of the clubs I'm a part of is ASME, which stands for American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Then I'm also a part of NSBE. NSBE is strictly for Black engineers. It stands for National Society of Black Engineers. And they also have other programs clubs for women who are in engineering, other majors as well. And NSBE basically thrives on connecting Black excellence with top tier companies like NASA, the DEA, FBI, CIA, and cybersecurity companies, Naval Nuclear Laboratory. Basically companies who are constantly like at this like that. So that's kind of a spill of that.
Next student, about your organizations or clubs or sports.
Okay, so like I said earlier, I pushed I encourage a lot of incoming freshmen to get involved on campus. I am a part of both the homecoming and the spring committee of 2019 and 2020. So I was the chair for Spring Fresh and I was the co-chair for homecoming. Basically, that just meant that all of the activities that the students would enjoy during both homecoming and Spring Fresh, I planned for, I budgeted for, I made the calls so that the artists and performers that were coming made sure that they had their hotel rooms. My Brother's Keeper was made because, basically it was made for Black men, just to make sure that we are choosing people, we are okay with being ourselves, we are loving our Black selves. But it grew into more than just Black men, and we accepted the fact that it was going to grow to more than just Black men. I am also a part of SGA on my campus, Student Government Association. What else do I do? Oh, and I'm a part of the basketball team.
So some of the things that I'm part of at Alabama State University, I was in SGA. I was a senator for my College of STEM. I'm an Aspire Mentor, which is an after-school program that we have at Alabama State, where students from the Montgomery public school area come to Alabama State after school for about an hour and a half, and we tutor them. And I also work in the Javon Thanatos lab, which is a forensic science lab. And I was also a Golden Ambassador, which is the greeting body for Alabama State University. So anytime there's any VIP visitors on campus, we give them tours or we attend to them at commencement or what have you. And then lastly, I'm a part of Air Force ROTC, which is one of 3 commissioning sources for the United States Air Force.
I am a student athlete. I'm on the track and field team as a scholarship athlete. I also serve in our Student Athletic Advisory Committee, which is a national organization, but our chapter at Howard, I serve as a mentor to incoming freshman athletes. I serve in our version of SGA, it's called HUSA, Howard University Student Association. I serve in the student advocacy department, particularly for athletes, because HBCUs have lackluster physical therapy opportunities for athletes. And I also serve as the program chair for an organization on my campus called Prosper. Prosper is an organization whose mission is about enriching the mind, body, and the soul.
Okay, was that everyone?
So we
What'd you say?
I was saying, I think so. We're conscious of the time being 8 o'clock right now. So if you have to jump off, go ahead and hop off for all of our attendees, not our panelists, not yet. I do want to touch on one question that just came through about financial aid, and what advice do you have in terms of financial aid for incoming students?
So I would say definitely be on it, and whenever you see them priority deadlines, please, all I can do is say, please make sure that you get that in as quick as possible, because that's free money. Like, that's free money that they're giving out financially, and it can help you out a lot in the long run, and it can help your parents out, because not everybody have deep pockets around here. So it's like, it's there for you using. And like I say, I stress a priority deadline because it's like you can get more money then, but if you, like, the longer you wait, then it's kind of almost like the less money you get. Because I've had friends run into that. They wait till the last minute, and then they are getting the bare minimum amount of money, and then they're just running and scrambling for scholarships. So please make sure, like I say, I can't stress it enough. Whenever you see that priority deadline, or whenever FAFSA comes up and get that email, please, about renewing it or doing it, just go ahead and get it out the way, please.
So definitely FAFSA, applying to grants and scholarships through your school is extremely important. A lot of our scholarships at Howard University are merit-based, meaning when you apply, if you meet the criteria, you receive a scholarship. I'm a capstone scholarship recipient. There's a scholarship above me called the Presidential Scholarship, which is full tuition and cost of attendance. Our tuition at Howard University is $26,000. Cost of attendance is $46,000. Since we are a private institution, there is no in-state, out-of-state. It's $40,000 for everybody. In terms of outside money scholarships and grant, my Scholly app was created by a Black man. He was a first-generation college student. He just applied to thousands of scholarships and earned millions in scholarship money, and it was like, all these scholarships go unused. I should make an app and condense them all into one space. An example of a scholarship that I found on there, I'm a middle child and I have no brothers, there's a scholarship for me. It was $500, but there's thousands of scholarships. So utilize that app. It's free for the first week, I believe, and then it's like a monthly fee, but it is invaluable in terms of, because millions of dollars in scholarships go unused because people don't want to do the essay. And I think that's a shame given the cost of school. So, yes.
For Alabama State, I would say that financial aid is definitely a big concern. You have to stay on it. Like one of the panelists said, you need to make sure that you're renewing your FAFSA before the March 1st deadline. It doesn't matter if you have a scholarship or not. Everyone has to fill out the FAFSA at Alabama State. I will say that we do offer a lot of merit-based scholarships, and the ACT score for the presidential scholarship is only a 26. So I feel like that's a pretty good score compared to some of the other schools to get a full scholarship at an HBCU. But I would definitely reiterate what the other panelists said. Just make sure you're prudent with your financial aid because it is important.
What advice do you have? Maybe one nugget of advice for rising college students.
Let's start with Brittany.
Okay.
So my advice for rising high school seniors in this COVID era, I wasn't a senior obviously in COVID, but I would just say take advantage of all the opportunities with schools waiving their ACT, SAT scores. I know that's a big hurdle for some people, but the world is your oyster now that some schools have waived their scores. So you have a lot more options. And I also want to say, apply yourself, because when I was a senior, I had senioritis and I didn't want to retake my ACT score. I didn't want to write essays to scholarships. Your time is now. Like, you only have this opportunity to get to the school that you really want to go to. Put all your effort in making sure that you're going to be happy with where you're going for the next 4 years, because if you don't, you're going to have to end up transferring, reapplying. Some of your credits may not transfer, and it's just a whole headache when you could just put the work in now and be happy for the rest of your life and set your career up and go to a great school.
Hunter, how about you?
You said this is for upcoming seniors going into their senior year of high school.
Who are transitioning to college or starting their senior year of high school.
I guess my main advice, like Brittany said, would be apply yourself. For myself, I was very, in some situations, very lackadaisical. And I could have put in more effort, and what I would have been able to reap more benefits. But nevertheless, I am here today. And also, I don't know, religion and everything, but if you are a religious person, I'll definitely say keep God first, because I believe in God, and that's a lot of times, some nights you just gonna have to, pray it out. So, yeah.
Thanks. Kylan?
Two things: Common App and early admission literally saved my life. Common App. I cannot push that enough, because it's one application to as many schools as you select, and you just do one and you can send it off to however many you want. So if you don't get into your dream school, you've already submitted the application. And early admission, I think Samir made the point that if the quicker you tap into free money, is more money is available. That's how most scholarships works at universities, especially with merit-based scholarships. If you apply first, you have first access to that money. So Common App and early admission application. Early admission is easily one of the best ways people get into school.
Perfect. Samir or Caleb?
So some advice that I would give is to, going into college, I would definitely say be open-minded, because this is a change, and most changes are always good. Not all change is bad, but you have to look at the fact that you're taking a step to further your education. And you're Black, and I don't know exactly the race of majority of people, but I'm just going off my assumption that if you're trying to attend HBCU, so I'm just gonna say if you're Black, you're any race, I'm just leave it at that. You're trying to better yourself. You're just trying to further your education, and you're just trying to do better and be better in life. So that right there speaks volume and lets me know that you have a go-get-it mindset. Now that you've applied, I would say now you just have to hit the gas and you got to press forward. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not an easy road. You can have long nights and stuff, but like I say, you got to persevere. You will persevere.
Awesome, great words. Caleb, do you want to round us out?
Sure. I don't know why my video feed stopped, but you guys can enjoy my gray avatar. Okay, there you go. All right, we're back. Okay, so some of the other panelists already talked about before you get accepted and applying for scholarships, things like that. So I'm going to speak on your first semester or your first year. I just feel like the number one goal that you should have is to stay focused, because there are a ton of distractions. And I want you to surround yourself with people who have the same goals as you, even if they don't have the same future or they want the same career, surround yourself with people who want to be successful, because those are the people that will keep you on track, whatever your track may be. I did struggle with that a lot. I surrounded myself with people who didn't come to college to better themselves, but to have fun, and they were there for just the wrong things. College, yes, you will have fun, but stay focused on what you came to college for, because that's what's gonna get you through. Because like the young man from North Carolina A&T said, you will have those nights where you want to give up. You will have those nights where you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore, or this is too much work. Finals week is very stressing. Midterms are very stressing. I just want you guys to stay focused on your goals. Just know that it will get better, and know that you're here for a reason. Like, your college had faith in you. They accepted you, so prove them right.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for rounding out all of these questions. Y'all did amazingly. I want to thank our participants. I want to let you know that any questions that were unanswered, we will send them to you in an email, potentially a Google Doc, and we will also send out the panelists' contact information. Y'all have been excellent. Your questions were amazing, very, very relevant. And again, I'm Shamel Ingram Yamofio with Keys to College, and Danielle will give her information.
Yeah, I'm Danielle. You can email me at thecollegevisitjournal@gmail.com or on social media, The College Visit Journal. So thank you all so much for your time. We appreciate you, and we'll be communicating with you soon. And thanks again to all of our panelists.
If everyone that knows me knows that I'm HBCU positive. If you're headed to college, I always tell people go to an HBCU, because it's a totally different experience. It's a welcoming experience. It's a family-oriented experience, but it's also one that's going to make you grow. I feel like I've only been at an HBCU for a year, but I'm a totally different person than I was a year ago today. And it's only because of the HBCU that I'm at. It's only because of the professors and the mentors that I've gotten along the way, them pushing me and forcing me to become better than who I was. They're a big part of where I am right now.